Welcome to my humble abode. How are you doing on this pretty mundane day? Good, I hope. I know the title of this video sounds goofy, but trust me, goofy will be the key word for this story. This story takes place back in 2021. Back then, I was working at a bowling alley as a snack bar cashier, and on this day was an average slow day. Majority of the people I worked with poked smut, from the people who worked in the kitchen, from the snack bar to the actual bar, even up to the front counter. There's only like one person who didn't smoke, maybe two. So, let me just tell you, a lot of skunky behavior happened at this establishment, but today's bedtime story isn't one of those stories. I heard my name being called from the left, which was the bar, and it was the bartender that was working that night. For this story, I'm going to call her Chelsea, just because that's the furthest from her actual name. She told me to follow her into the storage room where there was no cameras, and that's when she pulled out something out of her back pocket. She raised it up to me and said, "Hey, check this out." It was a little black package, and upon closer inspection, I saw a really crude drawing of Goofy himself with the sticky, icky flowers in his eyes, and he was holding up a rolled up wacky tobacco. And right above him it said, "Goofy Gummies." Now, I tried to find the brand online to see if I could provide any picture of it, but for the life of me, or anyone else really, I couldn't find any pictures online, so that's a shame, I guess. If you could find one, that would be pretty sweet. Speaking of which, this is my TikTok. If you want, you can follow me on there and have a hearty holler at the rambunctious and delightful memes I release to the masses over there. Why the fuck did I type all that? She told me that her boyfriend gave her a couple, so she said I could have it, and boy oh boy, I took it. She usually always had an abundance of the yummy greens, and she sometimes would just give me one from time to time. Most of us who worked there were really close. Thank you, whatever I put your name as earlier in this video. They were always great. I'm getting ahead of myself. So after I put that in my pocket, I finished my shift, got home around 12:30, and my wife was working her night shift at the time. So I decided that it was a good night to eat my treat. I planned to only eat half of it because at the time my tolerance was 1.5 levels above styrofoam, but before I knew it, I ate about 90% of it. And the first thing that came to my mind when I realized that was fuck. Because I knew I was going to get way too high. And I do not like getting too high. And I know if you smoked weed or smoke weed, you know what I mean by too high. Before I continue, I want to describe how the gummy looked for the people who are curious and don't know. The gummy was around the size of a cosmic brownie, but it tasted straight up like greeny greens, if you catch my drift. Oh yeah, and it was covered in nerds, like peanuts on a payday. I don't remember how many milligrams were in it, but I assure you, it was enough, I promise. And I'm not a liar, trust me, I'm a truther. Then it was time to try out the new Minecraft update. You can actually pinpoint the exact day the story happened, because I ate the edible and played Minecraft the day. Well, it was 12:30 at midnight when this took place, but it was the day after the Nether update released, when they introduced the hoglins and the forest and all that neat stuff. So I think it's pretty cool. You actually can pinpoint the exact day this story takes place. Anyway, I hop on my hose box and load up my survival world I had and still have for years. I play for a little while, gathering materials and whatnot, until I go through my nether portal and explore. Because I explored the nether portal before the update, those chunks, which was far in every direction mind you, were already loaded, so I had to go as far as hell to get new content. Great! Around the time I entered the nether, that's when the Goofy kicked in. But because the Goofy was so strong, I was completely locked into the game for a while before I even noticed I was orbital cannon obliterated. You know how you get super invested and immersed into a movie or a game or a show that Instead of seeing a TV through your eyes, you see whatever you're watching or playing, like if you're actually there. Well, take that and multiply that by 8, then divide it by 0, then add it by 8 and multiply it by 4. And that's how it felt writing this one out. I was completely tripped the dunk out seeing Soul Sand from Blue Fire for the first time. I wanted to rub the soil because it looked so smooth and satisfying. And the Blue Fire just looked cool because blue? Before I went anywhere in the Nether, I took 2 minutes to organize my inventory to how I wanted it, and in the middle of doing that, I got shot by a gas. The suddenness made me jump out of my seat for a few seconds, but I took care of him, no sweat. Are you proud? The gas hit my portal too when it charge hit me, but luckily I had a foot in steel, so thankfully I wasn't trapped. I had a path already, so I followed along and just kept going. Normally when I play a game, I usually have an earbud in and listening to music or a YouTube video, but I was so overcooked that my earbuds didn't even come to mind. I remember at one point, I was making a 1 block path over a giant pit of lava, probably about 20 chunks above it, and all of a sudden, I got some damage taken. And that suddenness made me scream because of the intensity of trying to not fall in the lava and the suddenness of being hit. Reminder, this was about 1 a.m. and I wasn't the only one home. Thankfully, nobody woke up in the other room, and even more importantly, I didn't fall into the lava. I quickly ran back to the shore as fast as possible, and when I got there, I had to take a few seconds and do a couple deep breaths. I'm telling you, that scared the living ender pearls out of me. After my mini panic attack, I crouched forward to try to find my attacker, and lo and behold, I see a regular ass skeleton sitting off to the side on about 5 by 7 block ground. I was completely dumbfounded and dumb because I didn't know that regular skeletons could spawn in the Nether. Plus, that spawn point for him. What are the odds? In this scenario, you would probably, I don't know, just shoot the damn skeleton with a bow, but my cook self thought it was a good idea to build a path that way, out of shooting range, mine through the wall next to him, then slay him. It worked, but I accomplished my goal in such an unnecessary, complicated way. Well, I guess which is the theme of this story. After that, I shimmied my way back and continued building my path until I reached the other side. I ran for a couple minutes, not really doing anything of note, but eventually I was stopped in my tracks when I saw it. The Blue Fire. Not only that, it was on a new block. I quickly ran over there and stared at that soul sand for probably 5 minutes just admiring it. I know I was just talking about it a couple minutes ago, but I really want to preface that probably the most memorable part of this story is I genuinely stared at the soul soil for actually, like without exaggeration, probably 5 minutes because it just looked so cool. It looked so nice to lay in. You ever see those videos of the sand being cut? Those like satisfying videos? It just makes me think of those. I'm getting off track. I'm a little cooked right now, actually. Another benefit of finding the soul soil, besides satisfying my eyes, was I finally encountered the new Nether. I was at awe and was amazed by how the new Nether layout looked. I thought the big towers of basalt was so cool looking, and once I saw the red forest, I immediately went to it. The whole time I was feeling like a kid on Christmas. I felt like this childlike wonderment tingle in my chest, and it felt like I was looking at a big city for the first time, like Chicago. Don't judge me. When you're higher than Americans' debt, little things just make you more awe and amazed. That's when I got swarmed with 3 piglins. I remember getting hit with one of them while I was trying to cut down a tree, and it made me scream again. And I turned around to just see one of the piglins for the first time, and I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, screamed it out because I was just in shock. What is that? I mean, it was like a little kid watching a horror movie. I ended up running and burying myself underneath netherrack to hide from them with 3 hearts to spare. Other than being annihilated, the reason why I was so jumpy and screamy at a children's game was because I was at least 1,500 blocks away from the portal. And I just didn't want to run all that way just to see the new nether again. You know how annoying traveling is? I already have to do so much traveling and missions in GTA. It genuinely annoys me. That is my least favorite missions in GTA, is when they have you go from one side of the map to the other just to do one tiny thing and then go all the way back. It's like, bro, it's the most uncreative fucking mission. You're just fucking stupid and have a skill issue in trying to do mission designs. It's not me that's the problem, it's you, okay? Fuck you! I'm sorry about that. I genuinely get annoyed at GTA. It's a really fun game, but oh man, it genuinely sometimes ticks a nerve. Anyway, I remember I started to mine forward just because I wanted to avoid them and not reach the surface of the netherrack. And I came across a random brown block, and I was confused and taken back. Why is there just a random brown block here? I tried to mine it, but I didn't have a diamond pickaxe on me, and my iron pickaxe wasn't mining it, so I was like, you know what? Whatever, I'll just leave it. And just knowing now that it's just netherite, it's like, oh man. I wish I could have mined that, but I guess at the time I was blinded, so I couldn't be upset by it, so I guess that's a blessing. I may have not been able to get the netherite block, but at least I found a nether fortress when I kept mining forward. Thankfully, it wasn't a bastion, or I really would have not only been mind blown, but deader than Cobain in 1994. Also, shout out to AI presidents playing Minecraft for teaching me what the name of a bastion was. I'm not even joking. I didn't even know that's what it was called until AI presidents, so shout out to you.
Where the wither skeletons at?
Joe, there is no way you're this goddamn stupid. Even your teleprompter should have told you this isn't a nether fortress.
The fuck do you mean? What else would this be? It's a giant structure in the nether.
Joe, this is a goddamn bastion.
What the fuck is a bastion?
It's your mother's family reunion, because everyone here is a pig.
You know how sometimes one of the pathways on the fortress leads to dead ends of the wall of netherrack? That's pretty much where I mined from, and how I found the nether fortress in the first place. This is when it started to get a little more intense. I saw a wither skeleton before I really ran anywhere, and finally remember I had a bow, and actually used it. Congratulations for me for growing an extra brain cell. I killed it and collected the droppings, and this is when shit hit the fan. There were 2 blazes on the fortress, and both started attacking, and I got hit 2 times and lost about half my health. But I managed to kill one. Right before I could kill the other, another wither skeleton appeared and smacked my ass like a drum. My anxiety ran through the roof and I panicked. I somehow managed to run back. Sorry, just picturing me panicking and running around in circles on the nether fortress. I somehow managed to run back into the thing, and I came from, what the hell? I'm starting to fall off track now. I managed to block off the path where I came from so I could heal. That's what I was trying to get at. If I didn't have any healing potions, I would have been a goner. Once healed, I tiptoed my way out and tried again. First, I killed that asshole Skelly and dashed my way into the actual castle bit of the fortress. To save a lot of boring time, unfortunately, my luck didn't get any better inside. There weren't a crazy amount of mobs in there. There were some, but I meant more there was no good loot. How good is horse armor when you don't ride horses? I don't know, you tell me. I would say I explored about 80% of the fortress, but I was zoned out, zooming around in circles for an hour trying to explore, so that's just my rough estimate. Eventually, I got to the part where I left the castle bit and was running on the walls again. Everything went to shit right here. I was trying to fend off 4 wither skeletons and trying to collect skulls so I could eventually spawn the wither, and a ghast was shooting at me. Not only that, the wither skeletons, I also got a ghast shooting at me again. And I managed to kill one of them and backpedaled myself into a blaze spawner. Oh man. Also, I had a shield, so that was a big hand. And I had like 2 or 3 golden apples, but this is where I actually ate my last one to save right here, because there was no way I would have survived this onslaught without golden apples, healing potions, and a shield. But I managed to kill 3 of them before the blazes actually spawned to attack, and that's when I heard it. I heard the blaze noise around when I killed the three of them, and when I heard it, oh man, I sprinted. What would you call the noise Blaze makes, by the way? Cow goes moo, frog goes croak, but Blaze? I don't know, man. Regardless, I panicked and I fled. And I started to make a path away from the castle just so I could escape. Of course, the wither skeleton followed me, and I killed it, thankfully. But that's when I saw, I think it was I don't think it was 2, maybe 3. I don't know. I was chalking it up to 2. I saw 2 blazes come out of the spawner, started floating around and shooting at me. And that's when I really started to full on, I was anxiety through the roof, sweating, panicking, because I didn't want to lose all this progress. I didn't have amazing loot, but I still had some stuff, like some iron ingots and gold ingots, and I didn't want to lose any of that. There I was, standing there with 13 arrows left and 6 hearts. I got shot by one of the blazes and almost fell. Thankfully, again, I didn't, and I just had to backpedal some more. That's when the thought finally clicked. I can just put the game on peaceful mode. You see, I normally play on normal mode, but I just wanted to explore the nether without any interruptions. Why I didn't think to change it to peaceful before? Short answer, smart. That's when I discovered that I've been playing on hard mode this whole fucking time. I changed it to peaceful immediately, and once I did, I started laughing. I laughed harder than my wang, like maniacal hyena laughter. After that, that's when it finally kicked in. Not the edible, that kicked in hours ago. I meant the realization of how fucked up I actually was. And like I said, I do not like getting too high because it shoots my anxiety through the roof and makes me feel like shit. I know I mention anxiety a lot. It's because I actually have a chronic anxiety problem, and I'm on a medication for it, actually. So, yeah, I don't like getting too messed up, and unfortunately, I was way too messed up. So, saying that, I had way too much adrenaline and anxiety and panic attacks running through this fuck-ass journey. And the fact I spent 4 hours in the nether and the best loot I found was gold ingots, I decided I went through enough hell. Wait, the nether is hell too. I decided I went through hell squared, and it was time to lay back and just watch some BoJack Horseman and try to ease my new panic attack. And that was the intense HighCraft journey. I know it's not like a crazy story about me like life changing, like me smoking pot for the first time or doing something crazy, but I just thought it was a really funny story, and I thought I'd just throw it in there. I started making thumbnails for my videos, and Just the title I came up with, The Intense HighCraft Journey, that just sparked my interest to make a thumbnail for that one first. And because I already had the thumbnail made, I was like, you know what? Let's just make the video real quick. So, yeah. That's all I got for this video. Sorry it took me a bit to post another video from the first one. Kind of got a little lazy and a little sidetracked. It's a mixture of both. I'm not gonna blame it on totally one or the other. Sorry about that. I'm working 10-hour shifts at my job, so you know how it be. I get tired. Some days just don't feel like doing things. Other than that, yeah, get the fuck out of my cellar, hoe ass.